that mean?
They were hoarding their resources into themselves to gain wealth and prosperity for themselves. And and while all the while actively participating in the religious perception of the country, to the point where in Isaiah chapter 2, Isaiah tells the people, I'd rather you just stop doing all of the religious things. Stop doing the church looking stuff. So, stop getting your guitar out. There's a wonderful song from the front man from the Christian band
Switchfoot.
Switchfoot.
Mm-hmm.
His name is John Foreman, and he wrote a song. It was in the probably 2006 or 7. It's called "Instead of a Show," and it's inspired by this context, and all of that is what leads into this imagery in chapter 5, where it talks about the vineyard.
I hate all your show and pretense, the hypocrisy of your praise, the hypocrisy of your festivals. I hate all your show. Away with
Yeah, I remember when I asked if you'd be willing to help with the podcast a month or two ago. You didn't even answer. You just sent a link to that song and then forced me to actually listen to the song to figure out what the heck you meant. We're going to look at the Vineyard song in a minute here, but I actually want to jump ahead to the verse right after it. Since we're talking about it, it's 5:8 of Isaiah. It says, "Woe to you who add house to house and join field to field, till no space is left, and you live alone in the land." I think it ties into what you said about leaving fields fallow and thinking about the poor. But these guys, they're expanding and they're producing. They're connecting house to house. They're joining field to field, which does not sound like a bad thing, but they're removing all free space. And then this odd statement, "You live alone." And it almost seems like in our drive to have more and more uh, and connect everything so there's no margin, that we end up isolated. And maybe that's a root. Maybe that's part of the root of what drives injustice. Because why not have justice and mercy? What is it about justice and mercy that is contrary?
More. That's what we love more than justice and mercy is more.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like it's funny if you take that woe off the beginning of verse 8, like that's the American dream.
You've got all these great things going on, and that's great. But where do the children play? All right, let's read it. I'm talking about Isaiah 5:1-7.
The song of the vineyard. I will sing for the one I love, a song about his vineyard. My loved one had a vineyard on a fertile hillside. He dug it up and cleared it of stones, and he planted it with the choicest vines. He built a watchtower in it and cut out a winepress as well. Then he looked for a crop of good grapes, but it yielded only bad fruit. Now you dwellers in Jerusalem and people of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. What more could I have done for my vineyard than I have done for it? When I looked for good grapes, why did it yield only bad? Now I will tell you what I am going to do to my vineyard. I will take away its hedge, and it will be destroyed. I will break down its wall, and it will be trampled. I will make it a wasteland, neither pruned nor cultivated, and briars and thorns will grow up there. I will command the clouds not to rain on it. The vineyard of the Lord Almighty is the nation of Israel, and the people of Judah are the vines he delighted in. And he looked for justice, but he saw bloodshed, for righteousness, but cries of distress. Woe to you who add house to house enjoying field to field, till no space is left, and you live alone in the land.
I don't know what you think, but it seems to me that the Lord really likes his vineyard. That
Yeah,
he's just kind of excited about this place that he's created.
I love the detail of the care that he puts into creating this space.
You hear of stones being removed, uh, a beautiful vine planted in it, a watchtower and wine press, a wall. What do some of those elements speak to you about?
Everything necessary to prosper and to grow and to thrive has already been provided. You know, every impediment to being able to produce good fruit has already been taken care of. This isn't rocky ground.
Yeah,
This is good soil. You know, you imagine the deep, dark, rich, loamy soil. Yeah, I can just picture it, you know, cupped in hand.
I was wondering this morning, what's the point of a watchtower? And what occurred to me was that you can climb up there and you can survey the entire field for protection. If something's climbing up and over the hedge, a fox or whatever, you might not see it if you're down on the ground, but if you're up on the tower and you're watching, you know, it's the idea of God's watching over this vineyard that He's made to protect it.
The crop is what ultimately someone would want to steal. A fox or an intruder. It's the grapes.
When I got out of ministry for 7 years, I did a lot of work in New Mexico, and I was reading that they brought vines, really good grapevines, over from Spain, and they worked their way up to northern New Spain at the time, which was New Mexico, and that there were vines that were planted in and around Taos and Santa Fe and some of these smaller towns that were had been planted four centuries previous, and so they were ancient vines, and they